Today, let me take you to the forests of Eastern Europe, deep, ancient, and full of secrets. Among the towering pines and winding paths, one figure is said to reign over all. A creature of the woods, neither fully man nor beast, but something far older, the Leshy. The legend of the Leshy has been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires and shared with travellers who dared venture too far into the forest's depths. The Leshy is no ordinary monster. It is the very spirit of the wild, unpredictable and untamed. Standing as tall as the trees themselves, its skin rough and bark-like, its eyes gleaming green like the moss that covers the forest floor. Its form is ever-changing, as it can shrink to the size of a leaf or tower above the canopy, blending seamlessly into the world it protects. But unlike many creatures of folklore, the Leshy doesn't roam with an insatiable hunger for destruction. No, the Leshy is a guardian, a being that looks after the forest and ensures balance. It's said that if you wander into its domain and respect the land, you may leave unscathed, perhaps even protected. But cross the Leshy, disrespect its forest, harm its creatures, and the woods will turn against you. Paths twist, the trees seem to shift, and you'll find yourself lost, no matter how well you thought you knew the way. One story, often told by elders, goes like this. A young hunter named Ivan set out into the forest, eager to prove his skill. The village warned him not to stray too far, for the Leshy was known to watch over these parts. But Ivan, filled with youthful arrogance, laughed off the warnings. He hunted deep into the woods, chasing game farther than any man had before. He set traps, leaving no thought for the balance of the forest, caring only for his prize. As dusk began to settle, Ivan found himself in a part of the woods he didn't recognize. The trees stood taller, darker, and the familiar sounds of the forest grew silent. Ivan turned to leave, but no matter which direction he walked, the landscape seemed to shift around him. His once straight path twisted like a serpent, doubling back on itself. Hours passed, and Ivan knew he was lost. Then, from the shadows, he heard a faint laugh. At first it was distant, like a breeze through the trees, but soon it was all around him. Ivan's heart raced. He called out, demanding to know who was there, but no answer came, just more laughter. His hands shook, his breath quickened, and then he saw it. A figure, barely visible in the dark, shifting in and out of view, tall and thin like the trees, but with glowing green eyes that pierced the night. It was the Leshy, and it was playing its game. Ivan, realizing he had angered the forest guardian, fell to his knees. He remembered the old stories, the offerings villagers would leave at the edge of the woods, gifts to appease the Leshy. Frantically, he reached into his pack, pulling out bread, salt, and a flask of water, placing them on the ground in front of him. "Please," he whispered, "I meant no harm." The laughter stopped. For a moment, the forest was still. The figure in the shadows stepped closer, though still barely visible, more a part of the forest than something separate from it. And then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone. The trees seemed to part, revealing a clear path ahead. Ivan, shaking but alive, wasted no time in fleeing the forest, leaving behind his offerings for the Leshy. When Ivan returned to the village, he told his tale, how he had disrespected the forest and nearly paid the price. The villagers nodded knowingly. They had heard stories like his before. Some said Ivan was lucky. Others said he had been given a second chance by the Leshy, a rare gift for those who remembered humility. For centuries, stories of the Leshy have been told in villages across Eastern Europe. In Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, the creature is known by many names and described in many ways, but always as a guardian of the wild. The great Russian folklorist Alexander Afanasyev, who collected countless tales in the 19th century, documented several encounters with the Leshy, each one highlighting the balance between man and nature. His works, like Russian folk tales, helped preserve these ancient stories, ensuring that the legend of the Leshy would survive in the modern world. But even without Afanasyev's writings, the Leshy would live on. Today, some still leave offerings at the edge of the forest, a piece of bread, a pinch of salt, just in case. After all, the Leshy is a creature of balance, and while it may not seek harm, it will not tolerate disrespect. So, if you ever find yourself wandering through the old forests of Eastern Europe, remember this: tread lightly, show respect to the land, and keep an ear out for the laughter in the trees. The Leshy may be watching, and in its forest nothing goes unnoticed. For in the end, the Leshy is not just a creature of folklore. It is a reminder that nature itself, wild and untamable, always has the final say. If you've enjoyed this journey through myth and legend, we invite you to join us on more adventures. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, so together we can explore the hidden corners of our world, where the past and the present still intertwine.